Hello everyone, welcome back to my podcast. In today's episode, I want to talk about something incredibly boring, which is grammar. And it is quite a basic grammar because I want to show you the difference between two English tenses, present simple and present continuous. I will be using easy language and I will speak slower than usual because I want to reach audience that doesn't necessarily speak advanced English. Well, not yet. But before I start explaining the differences between two tenses, I want to thank you for being so interested in my latest episode where I had a special guest, my friend Caro. That is the most popular episode on my channel. So, wow, and great news, and I'm happy you liked it. And of course, that's not the end of interviews. There will be more guests soon. Okay, so let's talk about the grammar now. As Caro said, grammar might be interesting, and of course, I love that it's so boring, but it's not that bad, okay? People just don't like to learn grammar because there are many rules you need to remember, and when you want to apply those rules in real life, it occurs that there is an exception and we should use something different and we get frustrated and so on. Also, learning grammar has always been boring at school. I'm sure all of you remember that every lesson on grammar looked like that. The teacher was writing rules and examples on the blackboard. You had to rewrite everything into your notebook. Then you had to learn it by heart and do some exercises in your handbook. And everything you learned was a theory. No practice, no real-life conversations, just a theory. So I must tell you, I'm not a fan of such methods. I believe that people should understand the rules on the basis of examples. Of course, sometimes a teacher needs to explain the rules because, for example, English and Polish differ so much that students need to hear a little bit of theory, which will help them understand what's going on. But let's not make theory the main topic of the entire lesson. It doesn't make sense. The children, when they learn how to speak, are told by the parents that they need to use subject, verb, and this verb needs to be in a correct form than the rest of the sentence. No. Children hear how adults speak, they repeat, and then they are able to produce their own sentences. And why I want to talk about differences between those two tenses, present simple and present continuous. Well, because I'm Polish and we don't have those two tenses in our language. We have only one present tense. We have more grammatically complicated things, but it's a different topic. But we don't really have this clear division into continuous and simple. So I'm not going to explain to you the construction of those tenses because you can find them everywhere. But I want to tell you about rules and give you some examples to put theory into context so it's easier for you to understand. Because I'm sure you know the constructions of all the tenses and all the exceptions, but you are not able to use it in the context because you cannot see the real difference between them. Well, so here we go. Present simple. As you can see in its name, it's simple, not complicated. So you have a verb in the simplest form. You only have to be careful with, third person, so he, she, it, because we add s at the end of the verb. And that's it, simple. When do we use it? First rule, permanent situations. Something that is repetitive and habitual. So basically something we do every day or often or once a week or sometimes or twice a month. It's not about exceptions. It is about habits. So I, Marta, live in Poland. I always drink 1 coffee in the morning. I read books with my daughter in the afternoons. I walk my dog 5 times a day. And I visit my parents around 4 times a week. And my invisible friend Gary, he also lives in Poland. He drinks 3 coffees a day. He reads fashion magazines. He travels with his imaginary cat to Neverland once a month. Okay, so we also use present simple when a thing that we describe is always true. It is true because it's a scientific fact, or it's a rule or just a general truth. Like, our planet Earth travels around the sun. Honey never spoils. Oh, did you know that? Honey is the only kind of food ingredient that never spoils. And I don't know, laughing burns many calories. So you should laugh a lot if you ate a cake. We also use present simple for instructions, directions, or narration of what's happening. So for example, a match or any sport event or things like that. So example, IKEA instruction says you need to open all the boxes, take out all parts of the furniture, and take a break for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, call somebody who can help you. Or Ronaldo passes the ball to the wrong player. Lewandowski takes over the ball and runs towards the goalkeeper. And goal! Something like that. I have no idea about football, so it's just an example. And the last set of rules for present simple is fixed arrangements. So things, events that are planned and they follow the timetable. Okay, so like trains, planes, holiday plans that are set according to a timetable. So for example, my invisible friend Gary arrives next week at 5 a.m. Okay, or our plane leaves tomorrow at 4:10 p.m. Easy? Hope so. So now present continuous. So it's a tense which is continuous. It is running, rolling, it's progressive. A quick construction explanation. We don't have only a verb here, like in present simple. We need to use to be in a correct form. So he is, we are, I am, and so on. Plus a verb which has ing at the end. Nothing else. So I am recording the podcast. So we use present continuous to describe something that is happening right now, currently, nowadays, and it's not repetitive. So it's not a habit. So here you go, the comparison of both tenses. I record podcast. Okay? I record it once a week. It's my hobby. I do it regularly. I am recording podcast. It means that I'm doing it now. So I can't help my boyfriend in preparing dinner right now. He needs to prepare it by himself. I'm very busy with recording. Okay, so you can see the difference. Or my daughter reads books about dinosaurs. She likes those books and she reads them every day, 3 times a day. My daughter is reading a book about dinosaurs right now. My mom called me and she asks me what my daughter is doing. So I say, oh, Laura is reading right now. And I can see she is holding a book about dinosaurs. We can also use present continuous for repetitive actions, okay? But when we want to highlight the action because it's irritating and annoying. So it's repetitive, so we should use present simple, right? But not in this case. If something is irritating, then we say present continuous. Oh, you are always complaining. You are always complaining. So you always complain. It's your habit. You complain every day. But it's so irritating for me that I say you are always complaining, and it means it's not only a fact that you complain, but it is also so annoying that I need to use a longer sentence to tell you that. That's why we use present continuous. We also describe things that are exceptions. So we do something only temporarily. As I said at the beginning, I live in Poland and I always drink 1 coffee in the morning and I visit my parents 4 times a week. I usually visit my parents every week, but this week I'm traveling to Netherlands with Gary. Exception, you see? And last but not least, we use present continuous when we describe our plans for the future, but they are not set according to any timetable. That's reserved for present simple, okay? So if you have a precise date and time, present simple. If you talk about your general plans, then you will use continuous. So Gary is taking us to a new restaurant tomorrow evening. Gary and his friends are spending holidays in Greece. Lucky them. You get it? I hope so. So, as our last exercise, I will read sentences which seem to be the same, but there is one major difference between them, the tense. And I will try to explain to you the difference between 2 meanings. My neighbor runs and my neighbor is running. So the first sentence means that my neighbor runs regularly. He is fit and healthy and he runs 4 times a week. Number 2, I can see that my neighbor is running right now. Usually he walks to take a bus, but today he's late. He was at a party yesterday and he overslept for a bus. So he is running and not walking. Second set of examples. Dogs chase cats and the dogs are chasing the cats. So it's quite an old-fashioned fact, but people say that dogs chase cats and cats escape from dogs. It's a rule, an observation about usual behavior of those animals. So we use present simple. But if I say that the dogs are chasing the cats, then I can see the dogs on the street which are chasing the cats. So there is a fight between them in the neighborhood. Then we have you always smoke and you are always smoking. Okay? So you can hear in my intonation even that there is a difference. So if I say that somebody always smokes, then it's a fact. That's something that this person does and it's his or her habit. And this person does it regularly. But if I say to this person, you are always smoking, then it means that I hate the fact that this person is always smoking, that this person always smokes. Okay? It's horrible. It smells bad and it's unhealthy. So I'm annoyed. That's why I use present continuous, even if we use the word always, which indicates that this is something repetitive, very repetitive, because it's always. So we should use present simple. But this is the rule I mentioned before. It's about being irritated or annoyed by a behavior or situation. So then we are allowed to use present continuous. And the last example, Lucy makes dinner for her family and Lucy is making dinner for her family. Okay? So if I say that Lucy makes dinner for her family, it probably means that she makes this dinner regularly. Okay? Maybe every weekend or twice a week. But if another Lucy is making dinner for her family, it probably means that she is doing it right now, or she will do it in the evening. Today in the evening, because why not? This is a planned situation, so she's making dinner at this time. okay? Or maybe her husband usually makes dinner, but today it is Lucy who is making dinner. That's why we use present continuous. Okay? It's over. We survived. I hope it was helpful and informative and easy and not boring. But I know it's not easy to listen about grammar, and actually it's not easy to talk about grammar. So let me know what you think. Should I continue making episodes about grammar, only from time to time? Or is it not entertaining at all and I should focus on other topics? So your homework is to send me a few sentences about your habits and plans for holidays. So be careful with the use of tenses. So thank you for today and see you next week. Bye bye.